My friends, my friends, welcome to Wake Up Legendary. My name's Dave Sharp. I'm the CEO and the pilot of this fantastic show. All right. We're going to be bringing this thing in for a landing here towards the end, maybe 30, 45 minutes. We could even go an hour. Who knows? Just make sure you put your seatbelt on because today it's going to be a lot of turbulence, my friends. There's going to be a lot of turbulence in the air. And the reason why is because we have somebody who has I've watched his journey over the past, 18 months, 2 years, something like that. And I've seen him rise up like a phoenix from the ashes. And he's recently had some more accomplishments that I'm excited to hear from him. Josh Smith, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, how's it going, Dave? Thanks for having me here.
Hey, man. Wow. How much have you contributed here to this community and this company over the last year? It has been so cool to have more of your time. And I guess there's something that more of your time has recently become available. What's new in your world?
Whew, yeah, where to even start? 2020 was probably the craziest year of my whole entire life, and that's a great segue into that. Because I wanted to mention yesterday. Actually, I was getting back into some of the training and everything that you all have, and I had through some of it, and I was like, oh, there I am. Oh, here I am again. There was like a couple different trains, and I just kind of had this like surreal moment, and it hit me, and I started reflecting back on 2022, and I was just like, my life, I thought 2021 I made progress and strides in my life, and then I look back at 2022, and I'm just like, how did I even how did all this happen? It's like somebody pinch me. Is this real life? Like, I quit my job in 2022, or retired. I like to tell people I'm officially retired from the corporate rat race. Living retired life, just been enjoying it. So it's been a
Wow.
heck of a year.
Wow. And remind everybody, what was your corporate job?
Yeah, so I did sales, customer service, and digital marketing of all things for a coffee equipment supplier. So
Okay.
they
So,
designed
wow.
and manufactured coffee equipment, and we sold it on the internet. So,
So you had 3 jobs, it sounds like. So you retired from 3 corporate jobs.
well, if you want to
Sales,
double it all,
marketing, and
there was actually two brands in two stores that I was doing. So if you want to double it all, it was like six jobs.
so that happened since the mastermind. That's happened here even since you did the 5-day Reels challenge for us. That's happened since then?
Yep. Yeah, I think
Wow.
it was September, like the middle of September, I'm pretty sure was my last days with that company and in the corporate world. So,
Wow, congrats on that, man. So how has that and for those of you who are wondering what Josh's backstory is, he really just got started in this community the same way that everybody else did, right? I mean, you came through the 15-day challenge. What did you have a secret side door, back door, or am I
nope.
would you grade your experience consistent with everybody else's experience at the beginning? And then we're all faced with that, with many along the way, kind of quit and bail out, or kind of continue on and continue to take those leaps of faith. So, anyways, would you consider your entrance in now looking back consistent with everybody else's?
I would say it's pretty consistent. Sometimes I get a little jealous when I see, these new people coming in here and they take over the top spots on the leaderboard, and it seems like they just started like a month or two ago. I'm like, what the heck? Because for
Yeah.
me, it was a lot of up and down at the beginning. A lot of my backstory is starting the business behind my back, my wife's back, her finding out about it from somebody at work, quitting the business for 8 months, cold turkey, working on my relationship with my wife, in and out of counseling, getting that right, then getting back into it. So, and then, having some success and experiencing all the ups and downs and the roadblocks along the way and the distractions of the new shiny products out there, the new shiny offerings. And, finally, I feel like 2022 is just like, man, I finally put my head down and really, really focused and just went all in. That's kind of, the very short version of all of it, but
Yeah.
there's been a lot of ups and downs.
But I mean, it's pretty powerful that you took 8 months off, and that was in 2021, right?
No, that was so that was
Or was
in,
that in
well,
2020?
from, yeah, like about midway through 2020, into early 2021.
Well,
So
through Christmas, you were there kind of getting the home front straight. I've been there many times.
yeah,
And so that also demonstrates the power to me of the fact that, wow, you came back, and after taking 8 months off, starting and stopping, or starting and getting distracted, starting and, hey, something came up in your life, you had a priority that you needed to focus on, and that was your choice and your decision. Whatever the reason is, most of us have something big that comes up. And whether we're able to balance both, or whether we have to come back in and start over, it provides a lot of hope that you were able to come back in, and whether, restart basically, and have this massive, all these massive monumental achievements, like being able to, as you say, become a guest trainer here, earn great money. I mean, I know some of what you earn because you're an affiliate for us.
yeah,
And that's pretty, I mean, just here alone, that's been pretty astounding to see you put up some serious numbers. But then to be able to go on and quit your job and make a real career out of it, again, after you stopped for 8 months, I just wonder who in the audience that's maybe giving some hope to, like it is for me, because I think some of us, when we stop something, we think, oh, I can't go back, or there's feelings of shame or embarrassment or whatever, which are all magnified in our own head, by the way.
yeah,
Because was there any judgment from me? I probably didn't even notice, or anybody else. It's just kind of like, hey, Josh, how you doing? Wait,
yeah.
but we make it up in our head. We're like, oh, I can't go back. I can't do that. Or did any of that cross your mind when you were coming back? Or what would you say to somebody who is needing to seriously restart and just let bygones be bygones, and leave the past in the past?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say there's no better time than now. Like, I'd say that back in 2020. I'd say that back in 2021. I'd say it last year. I'd say it now. I'll probably say it for the next 10 years. If you've been struggling, if you started and stopped, or you're thinking about getting started, like, there's no better time than the present moment. Especially if you're one of those people who has started and you've ran into something in the past, like, man, it's the past. I know it's easy for me to say that now, but you can't change the past. You can't go back. And it's like super ninja hack for entrepreneurs, like, or people in general, life in general. If you can learn how to leave the past in the past, you're going to be a heck of a lot more happy in the present.
Yep.
That's for sure. And you're going to make a lot more of an impact for your.
You're right. That is a great life skill. I would almost go as far as to say, Josh, that it's a mandatory entrepreneur skill.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
unless you can, well, the other, it's leave resentment in the past. And if you have a chip on your shoulder, that's fine. Use it as motivation. But if it paralyzes you, you have to do something with it. You have to put that rock down. It's because it's not really paralyzing you. What it really is it's like carrying around a bag of the past. And so often, to be an entrepreneur, we either, as you say, need to drop the bag. And I think there's actually a book out there called Drop the Bag. And it's about, I believe it's about these kind of things, leaving the past in the past. But I would say that you've also had a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. You're a guy who, there's also you were a college athlete, you got injured, that dream didn't come through for you. And I'm really inspired by the fact that you also kind of used, you didn't let that get you so down. And now you're retired at 33, and your body's probably healthier than it would have been if you'd have come out of the NFL here around this time. What what do you say about lost? This is a saying that I got from 12-step recovery: lost dreams awaken, new possibilities arise. What do you say to the person who's had a dream that didn't come true in the past? I don't know whether it was a marriage, a business, a sports career, a job, and they're feeling like a second chance is not possible.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you use the word resentment because a lot of the content I made last month. I talked about resentment a lot and I shared a lot more of my story with my audience. And, if you have a dream, right, and you give up on it or you quit for whatever reason it is, like for me, the college football thing happened. I did get injured a lot, but that's not the reason I gave up on the dream. The reason is because I got my now wife, who was, not even really my girlfriend at the time, just kind of my fling. I ended up getting her pregnant, unfortunately. And so I thought it was the right thing to do to give up on my NFL dream and figure out how to, just provide for my family because that's what, society to do. Like, you have to provide, go to work, get a job, provide for your family. And so I gave up on that dream. And what I also did while giving up on that NFL dream was I also gave up on my dream of being different, kind of like thinking outside of the box, not having to give in to what society tells you to do. And I did. I did whatever I had to do to make money. I went and I got a job, and I told myself, I fed myself over and over again, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the right thing. This is what I need to be. But all throughout that, while I'm giving up on both of these dreams at the same time, I'm building up resentment towards my wife, towards my firstborn daughter, because I'm giving up on my dreams. And as a human, I need an excuse for why I did that, right? I had a reason to quit, and I need an excuse for that. I need a way to justify it. And so subconsciously, I'm blaming it on them. And what's happening is, for a year and a half, I'm in the jumping around from different jobs, providing for my family, and I'm miserable. I'm treating them like crap. I'm an absent father. I'm not doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing because I have all this resentment built up inside my heart because I blame them. When in reality, there was nobody else to blame but myself. Like, so, it took me a long time to realize that. I had to do a lot of work in counseling, in just self-reflection to figure it out. But I'm much better for it now, and it's all
Tracy,
part of what took me here. So,
Tracy said that was an unexpectedly real answer. Thank you for sharing. I agree. I love how the frame that you put that in, and that sort of because you could, as many of us do, choose a completely different frame or choose the old frame that you were continuing to see that situation through and continue to, there's another saying in recovery, I'll repeat, through not taking personal responsibility, we actually create our own problems. And I found that to be true, that all of my problems, every single one of them, boils down to me not taking personal responsibility,
yeah.
regardless of what others are doing. And so, how have you, by taking all this, like, kind of, I can tell you've done the work. I can tell you've taken the time off to get the awareness around this. It's really cool to hear. How has that changed you, and how has that changed you as an entrepreneur?
Oh man, it's freed me, so to speak, for lack of a better word. It's a really freeing feeling, to know what's going on, to understand your emotions, to understand what's going on deep down. It frees you as a person. It frees you as an entrepreneur, and it's allowed me to take the next steps in my business, and more importantly, it's allowed me to take the next steps in my relationship. Like, yeah, especially with my wife, like our relationship is stronger than it's ever been. We're coming up on our 7-year anniversary, and I got a letter from the in-laws this past year. My father-in-law, basically, he wrote me a letter saying all this stuff, and I didn't think you guys were going to make it past 1 year. He's like, I can't believe how much you've changed, how much, I'm gonna start tearing up talking about it. But it's like, man, not even just from the business, the money and the life that we've created, but just from finally doing the right things, and treating my wife with the respect she deserves, and treating my kids with the respect they deserve, and putting them first and being a leader from that perspective, not just providing. Like real leadership, especially for your family, is showing up for them. And
Yeah.
that's what, especially men in entrepreneurship and business, we got the fine line between wanting to provide and give your family a better life. Well, if you're working 80 hours a week to do that and you're missing everything that's going on in your kid's life, you're not giving them a better life. You're just another absent father who's using your big work schedule, your big workload. You're wearing it as a badge of honor when really it's just you avoiding your actual responsibilities.
Yeah.
So,
It
and
took me a long.
I had to learn all that the hard way. That's why I can
Well,
say,
I'm still
yeah,
learning it myself, but I'm picking up what you're putting down because I did it for so long. And that's one of the reasons why I keep my life as simple as it is these days. I've had some of the what appear to be these really seductive lifestyle things, speaking from the stages and doing all flying around, traveling, sitting in first class, the man, and having the big office downtown and all this stuff. And that was I had a company before this that we sold information similar to this, but we also had a little bit of software. And man, I had my priority. I was actually just talking to my wife about it. I had my priorities so misaligned,
yeah,
and I went through similar work that you did, and did similar work that you did on myself, in how I was showing up in my family, and how I was showing up for my kids, and how I was showing up for my wife, and prioritized my life before we launched Legendary. And that's why I show up in the consistent and simple ways that I do now, because to keep these priorities in order, which if I don't have that, if I'm not very intentional about that, it's not even that I'm trying to be a bad guy, but I just can get distracted and I can get overwhelmed. And I actually think us men are some of the most emotional people more so than women, right? We don't know how to cope with our feelings,
yeah,
right? So we use all these other things to mask and kind of adjust. And you're right. Then we come home after a day of providing, out there, and our family gets the ends meet. We take up, I used to take up a lot of space in the house, and until I got with this mentor. I've got a mentor named Ken. He's outside of work and entrepreneurship. He's a therapist, and he's a guy who I am a part of one of his groups. And he talked about not taking up so much space, Dave. He was like, Dave, you take up so much space, man. Everything's about you all the time. And it's a real gift to your family if you can create actual like financial freedom, but not have to put them through hell to do it,
yeah. And I think that's one of the unique things too, about all of this is like, I know everybody, especially when you start experiencing a little bit of success, and especially if you're doing it the route I took, the affiliate marketing route, you go through these kind of phases where like, oh man, this is great. I've made XYZ amount of money, but I'm only getting XYZ percentage of it. Well, what if I go out there, I make my own thing now that I know how to do this, and I could get 100% of it, right? And you go through like these phases. You're like, well, I can help more people, I can impact more people this way. And then you start to do it a little bit, you get a little distracted, and you start to realize, well, this is a heck of a lot more work than I really,
Yeah.
I kind of like the lifestyle of getting to work for an hour, maybe two a day. If that's what I really want to do, I could put in 2 or 3 solid hours, make some content, get ahead, maybe put a YouTube video out there instead of just some TikToks, maybe send an email to my audience that will help them. And then I
I
start
often get, I
talking to
often
these
get,
people that have their own things, and they're like, yeah, I got my $10,000 offer, my coaching offer, it's great, but I'm working like 16 hours a day. I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes, like I don't want to be doing that. And so, it's not a bad life being a content creator and doing the affiliate marketing thing. It's,
yeah.
in fact, every time I start to get a little bit distracted, I take a step back and I'm like, man, You know, like a couple weeks ago, my wife and I, like we went through the Yellowstone phase. We binged Yellowstone in a couple weeks. And you know what? I was watching it from 9 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, just
Wow.
in the middle of the day,
Good
Monday
for
through Friday,
you, man.
hanging
That's
out with my
great.
wife. And
That
then
is the retired life.
exactly. And then from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the after, or 1 o'clock to 3, some days I'd make content. I'd work on my business, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I've been really just trying to take some time to enjoy all that
Yeah.
because it's really, really cool. And you know what? When you get to a certain level and you create the consistency and you understand what works, you can focus on only what works and shut everything else out. And that's how you create one of those elusive 4-hour work weeks.
Yeah.
You know,
I
that's
agree,
how you
man.
do it. So,
It's I am often jealous of sometimes just of our students, right? How because just doing affiliate marketing, you're right, is really the ultimate lifestyle business. I mean, there's nothing that's there. If you can get good at affiliate marketing, it is the ultimate lifestyle because you're not delivering anything, you're not teaching any. A lot of you are like, well, how do I put my face in the camera? How do I come up with content? Well, that's the bare minimum, right? That's the bare minimum is marketing, right? But if you're just an affiliate marketer, you don't have to deliver content, coaching. Here at Legendary, of course, we do courses, coaching, and events, right? So, and it is a lot. It's a lot to do all three of those, right? We have a team of over 100 people now. You know what I mean? A wonderful team that allows me to have a wonderful life. By the way, just so everybody knows, an absolutely wildly talented team, as Josh has met many of them. Um, but there's no better lifestyle business than this, and you're nailing it right on the head. That's the perfect example. The ability to be able to watch Yellowstone from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the afternoon. It doesn't get any better than that. And guess what? I actually am sitting in my office house right now. I've got a TV right there. I've got a couch right there. Nice big couch. If I wanted to sit on that couch right there, I could. And I could just grab me a couple of episodes of, I've been into that Sylvester Stallone series that came out on Paramount, Tulsa King. You guys got to check that
oh,
out.
I haven't seen that one yet, but
He's 70 something years old. He's absolutely on every uh, growth enhancer in anything that boy can be taken. He is, because he looks as rock solid and ripped as he did back when he was in his 40s. It's unbelievable, but that's besides the point. So how are you staying? Um, how do you take care of yourself throughout the day? What things have you done to with the extra money that you now have? Of course, you're retired, so you've replaced your income, but you're also making more than you've ever made, I assume. And
yeah.
so how have you upgraded your life? I was just watching a video with one of my industry buddies, Noah, over at AppSumo. He's got a YouTube channel, and he went to an airport. This is some of the creative stuff that some people do to create content. He goes to a private airport and just starts basically harassing people as they're driving into this airport, and convinces this guy who is flying solo to Boston on his private jet to let him sit in. Okay. And as he's sitting here and he's talking to this guy, he's like, how has your life changed now that you're like a billionaire, right? And you've got a private jet and all this kind of stuff. Here's the, just so you guys can see what I was watching here. Literally, I was watched just as I was having breakfast here before we went live. And this guy's like, well, basically, I eat the best food that I can eat, right? Because, I have a lot of the same problems that people have that are not millionaires or billionaires, but I just have different resources to be able to handle those problems. So I can still gain weight, I can still get ill, blah, blah, blah. But one of the things that I've changed is I eat the best food, all organic, et cetera, et cetera. I can relate to that. I've bragged a little bit recently how we hired a chef. Now, it took a long time for us to do that, but we did it. and last night she made sushi, the best stuff you'd ever tasted in your life. It was unbelievable. How have you upgraded your life or your family's life over the course of the last year with the money that you've been making? How has life changed in some of those practical ways, but they make a big impact?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the first and the most obvious one is we moved to Texas and we bought a house that was twice the square footage of the one we were living in Wyoming. So that's nice. We got a lot more space, and we're able to do that. And then the private chef, I have a little bit of chef envy right now because my wife and I both hate cooking. We just don't like doing it. It takes so much time. It's not one of those things. So we're actually looking into what it would be like to hire somebody to cook meals as well. So that's one of the big goals for this year.
Hey babe, how much is our chef, just for perspective? Aaron, I think Aaron, how much is our home chef? 2,000 a week.
Ooh, that's a little steep, but
I mean, hey, but
it's worth it, right?
bro, I've got lunch today. I've got sushi and dinner at night. I mean, for me, my BMs since having a private chef have never been healthier.
Yeah, I think we talked at the mastermind, and you said you had lost something like 20 pounds since you started with
Yeah, well,
the.
I've been working out a little bit, but
Yeah,
that's an example of how I have, with resources, upgraded my life. And so you bought a house. So
yep,
you bought a
yep.
house that doubled square footage from the previous house. And how has that changed your family's life? What is that? What is that?
Well,
What
I have an office now to actually
okay.
work from. I no longer got to make content for my kitchen table every day. So that's cool. But for my family and the rest of us, I think the big one is, instead of just having a $20 a month gym membership to Planet Fitness, we go to Lifetime Fitness now here in Houston. We're paying almost $500 a month for a family membership, but they've got childcare programs, and it's not like something where you just show up and drop your kid off. Like, they've got different classes for the kids. Like, the kids can learn yoga, they can do gymnastics, they've got a play gym, they can challenge their creativity with arts and crafts and history lessons and things like that. So we could drop our kids off, and then they've got the cafe there, which is all organic food, which is all healthy for you. So we can go there, we can drop the kids off, we can get a workout in, we can eat at the cafe, like eat better than we would if we were eating out.
Right.
And then we have the max membership where I go in, and I'm an entrepreneur, I like to pay for help. Like, I go in and I don't have to use the brain power of coming up with my own workouts. I just go to a class and I got a coach who tells me, hey, this is exactly what you need to do. And they guide you through the whole workout. I'm in and out in an hour, get a better workout than I could get on my own.
Right.
So that's an example. I'm starting to get into much better shape again. Back to my fighting weight,
Yeah, and I want to be clear with everybody because some of you are wondering and asking questions like about my chef, like, which, by the way, Josh and I are not speaking of these things because we want to be braggadocious or anything like that. It's just understand that your life. I'm not worried about whether the food is included in that or not. I didn't even know how much it cost because it's a small ratio of my income. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not sitting here, and my wife, it probably does matter to her, but to me, it's like, I don't know whether the food's included. It's not that big of a deal. It is included in that. Okay. My wife knows, but for me, and that's good. We're not flippant. I mean, we're great stewards of money. What were you saying? Come here. Come on in. Come on in, Mrs. Sharp. Join the show. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
I just want to say that when we started, we were cutting coupons. So I don't, you don't.
I'm not. I don't think I'm sending the wrong message. Do you think I
Okay.
am?
No, I just want people to know that.
Yeah.
And you were pawning those numismatic coins.
Oh my God, we couldn't afford to pay attention. Yeah, that was back when we were splitting the rent. This was back in 2009. We were splitting the rent, and I was doing MLM. And one of the MLM companies that I was in was the product was numismatic coins. Okay, so it was like your product is an asset, right? And so I was like, God, I'm gonna get rich. This is brilliant. I didn't make anything except I just kept paying the $99 a month for the numismatic coin. So then and I didn't have my half. And she looked at me and she said, "You better go take those numismatic coins right to the pawn shop. I don't give a shit."
You were like, no, they're valuable.
I was like, "They're valuable." And then I took them to the pawn shop and the guy was like, "I'll give you like $20 from." I was like, "I paid 99." He was like, "I'm just telling you what they're worth, man." And I was like, "Oh my God." But yeah, I think people understand that. And the point is we all got to walk through the front door in this game, and nobody really. I'd like you to talk a little bit more about some of the things behind the scenes that people haven't seen or don't know about you, that you're everybody, there's a lot of people who have seen you and you've got 1 million followers at this point. Is that right?
Yeah, like 1.1 on Facebook, I think.
1.1 million followers on Facebook.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude. I mean, you're famous on Facebook.
I guess so. I don't
So what
weird to say that, but
that's crazy. I mean, that let's talk about that for a second.
yeah.
So you say in your main platform right now is actually TikTok?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so can you make sense of that? How do you have 1.1 million followers on Facebook, but right now you're back in love with TikTok?
Yeah. So the thing is, like, I've got the 1.1 million followers on Facebook, right? And that's great. And I still get sales from Facebook every day just from, maintaining it. But I've never really liked Facebook. I just went through that phase where Facebook was getting like really, really big for me. And so I rode the wave as much as I possibly could. But there's so much just junk in garbage to me, on Facebook. There's a lot of good there too, right? But there's so much garbage there, that I never really wanted to go like full in with a Facebook strategy. And so I've just been riding the wave, and I maintain it. And what happened is, and I think I say this in the training, what people don't realize is I was still creating all of my content on TikTok, but I was creating it for Facebook because I knew what Facebook wanted and it was working for me. And so when I did that, naturally, TikTok slowed down a lot because I wasn't creating content for TikTok. I was using TikTok to create it, but I was still creating content on TikTok. So I had the presence there.
Right.
And then what happened is I just kind of got sick of Facebook and I was like, man, I really, really like TikTok and nobody's talking about TikTok anymore. Like everybody's like moved on. Like TikTok has just disappeared. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start creating content again for TikTok. And I sure enough, my old account, I had like 217,000 followers on TikTok. It got completely banned. And so I started all over and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun building a TikTok from scratch again. And I think I just crossed like 69,000 or 70,000 followers. But it was making content specifically for TikTok. And it was content that I enjoyed making more. Where, you can get away with creating the content where it's just text on the screen and all of that, and you'll get views and you'll get traffic and you'll get sales. But to me, I'm at the point where like, I want to get on podcasts and I want people to hear me talking and I want to cut up that and make it my content. So I call it talking head style of content where just a talking head, and I come up, I have a hook, I tell a story about it, and then I have a call to action at the end of most videos. And I like making that kind of content more because to me, it feels more valuable. It feels deeper and it feels like you can build a better relationship with your audience that way. And so I did that for a few months. And sure enough, like I've made money from TikTok in the last couple of months that I had never made on TikTok, even during like the crazy TikTok boom where everybody came in and did all this crazy stuff. I never hit that level of other people. And now I'm kind of like making content on TikTok again. And it's like, holy crap, this place is a gold mine if you actually talk to your audience. And TikTok's cool because it makes it so easy for you. You make one video, somebody comments, you just hit the reply button and you talk for 45 seconds. Holy crap. Now TikTok, you're literally answering your audience's questions. TikTok wants you to do this. So you're building deeper relationships with your audience, and like and TikTok is literally telling you exactly how they're going to send you more people, but not just more people to make a video go viral. They're going to send you more people who actually want to consume your content and they're interested in what you're saying and are going to be buyers, and not just people who jump into something, and buy it and then never do anything with it. They're actually going to go through the training. They're actually going to, they're going to get on your email list and they're going to crave more content from you. And then the next thing you promote, they're going to buy that too. They're going to be the lifelong customers. And that's what I'm learning about, my personal journey and about my content is like, when I'm actually speaking and talking, I'm creating a better audience. It's not as viral. I don't have the vanity metrics anymore, but I'm creating people who actually want to engage with me, who want to learn from me. And as an affiliate marketer, the most important thing, they'll take my recommendations and they'll go get Legendary's training because I recommend it. They'll go use XYZ software because I recommend it and they trust me to do that.
Yeah. And you've started the relationship with that, them asking, you answering.
Yeah.
They're the student, you're the teacher, and that's exactly, or you're the person who's delivering value, either entertaining them or educating them, right?
Yep.
That relationship is always established up front, right at the beginning, instantly. Who's who in the relationship, right?
Yep.
And if you start the relationship off of course, and you're you're answering somebody else's question, which is usually the first way they're going to consume that kind of content, right? Is if you're answering somebody else's question, or they've just seen a video of you delivering something. But it's established right then and there that you're the person who's going to be answering their questions. More so if you're talking than if it's just on the screen, right? That's what you're saying. When you're talking, it's even more powerful. The relationship is established right there up front. They hear your voice. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing, and maybe even yourself when you started, when you didn't want to talk, when you didn't want, when others didn't. What did that journey look like from you going from not wanting to talk as much to wanting to talk, and even now you're like, oh, I want to talk more. I want to be on podcast. What does that journey look like? Because I think that a lot of people feel like they don't have anything to say, don't have value, and just lack overall belief in themselves.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of gone through phases actually, because my first little bit of wave of success on TikTok, I was going live every single day. And, which is great. Going live is a great way to connect with your audience. You're going to build, deep, meaningful relationships that way. But I kind of got burnt out of it after a while of, kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I was like, well, let me figure out a way to create content where I don't have to talk as much, or I don't have to spend an hour going live every day. And it was like, okay, I figured that out. And then it was like, well, this content is cool and it's working and it's paying the bills. But then now I kind of want to talk more. So I found that happy medium. I still don't really want to go live. It's just not something I want to do at this stage of my journey, really. So I've kind of found that happy medium where I'm almost going live, but it's just from making a 45-second long clip or a minute long clip or a 30-second long clip. And it's more impactful because, I can really think it out. And it helps me work on my content and my copy as well, right? Because I'm kind of thinking through it, where in the moment you kind of on a live, you just say the first thing that comes to your mind because you're reacting. And then you think about it after, and you're like, oh, I could have said this differently. I could have maybe made more of an impact if I said it this way. And so it really helps you kind of work on your content and your copy that way. And I think that's really, really kind of helping me develop as a marketer too, is, being able to create better copy. I don't know if
better.
that answered your question. I kind of
Yeah.
started down a rabbit trail, I think. So
No, it's fine. It's all good stuff. And so I hear what you're saying, that kind of, you went live and you were all over the place, and then you began, and that was valuable, but you didn't enjoy it. It was kind of working, but you
yeah,
didn't enjoy it as much.
yep,
And now you found this happy medium where you're being more on purpose with your content. You're planning it out more. You're
yep.
being more intentional with what you're going to say, and kind of the messaging and just your overall brand, versus just reactionary, more intentional. Does that include creating content in kind of bulk on it, or are you creating it kind of as it comes? What does a day in the life of, or a week in the life of, look like at this point?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both, and I'm kind of adapting a new strategy right now. Um, where the cool thing about what I'm doing now is you can take your content, right? And when it's more meaningful and you're focused on your copy and you actually script it out ahead of time, well, boom. Now you've got a video that you're going to make that's going to provide a ton of value for TikTok and in the Reels platforms, where people are going to actually hear you and you get to speak. But then also, you just take that, make a couple tweaks to it, and it's an email now that you're sending your email subscribers. And then it's 3 or 4 story slides that you can go post on Instagram to give value to your Instagram. Like, so it's by creating one piece of content, you now have something for every single platform. And oh, lo and behold, you can take the same concept, expand upon it a little bit more, turn it into a YouTube video and a blog post. And now you're checking off every single possible box that there is for affiliate marketers, digital marketers, and you're creating more meaningful content. So when it comes down to it, a lot of times my phone is actually not, I can't grab it right now, but I set alarms. Like, something pops into my head, and in that moment I stop whatever it is I'm doing and I just set an alarm, and I'm like, this is a content idea that I thought of. So I'll set an alarm, and then I'll either set it for the evening or the morning the next day. And then I'll write it down and I'll put it in my planner. Like, this is the content, I want to talk about for the next week. This is the story I want to share. If there's something that happens, I'm walking down the street and I see some lady with her head down on her phone walk into traffic. I'm like, holy crap, what's the lesson in this? How can I share this, like, with my audience? That this lady was so consumed with her phone and scrolling on social media that she walked straight into traffic. Like, how often do we walk through life like this? How often are you working at your 9 to 5, just aimlessly looking down at your screen, going through life, when you could be doing something different? So when you do it like this, you start to see everything as an opportunity to create content. And you're like, what's the lesson in this? What's the lesson in this? What can I teach from this? And you'll come up with the stupidest things. Like, you don't even realize it. And all of a sudden you have this incredible piece of content that you thought was really, really stupid. But people are like, holy crap, I never thought of making mac and cheese for my kids in that way. Like, I didn't realize you could apply that to business. Like, so.
And when you use those powerful analogies, like what you just used, which at first it's like, what the hell are you talking about? Where are you going with this? And
Yeah.
then when you bring it home with a powerful point that relates to their life, it's like, that's the ultimate Disney storytelling adventure. It's just condensed down into 30 or 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how you feel at the beginning of every great movie, at the beginning of every great story. What the hell? That's called a hook. It's getting somebody's attention. You jumble their mind at the beginning with some sort of with something odd, or this late today, I was walking down the street and saw a lady looking down at her phone. She walked right into traffic. Here's what I learned from that situation, right? Or it's just like, okay, where is he going with that? Or starting the story in the middle of it is another way to kind of break people's state. He was laying in bed in a puddle of sweat. I mean, if you started a video like that, just like Hollywood movies start their videos like that, you're going to get more attention and eyeballs and more buy-in, and you're going to get people more interested, and they're going to be impressed just simply by the fact that you told a story. But because they're to most people, creativity, to most people, they've been trained to be consumers. We all have. We've all been, that's why when somebody does something creative, I mean, you can be, I've been in so many rooms, and it's like when one person's creative or thinks of something, everybody erupts, because it's so difficult to be creative, because we've just been trained to just consume and not think, and your ideas are probably not good. They're not good enough. You just be quiet, do your job. Nobody asked you, right? And so now we get in. I've seen a couple of comments. What is content? Content, my friends, is anything that somebody consumes: a video, a written article, blog post, Facebook post, a picture, a meme, and an email. Anything that somebody consumes: a webinar, a webinar, a conference call, a Loom video, an audio message, a text message. It's all content. A newspaper, your news show. It's amazing. We consume content all day, every day, and don't know what it is. I mean, and I'm not saying that condescendingly, but it's like content's everywhere, and we're so trained to only consume it that actually identifying, and I've always said this, you said it too just a moment ago, when you get this information, you start to see the world through different lenses. Everything now, instead of it just being entertainment or somebody else giving you, telling you, teaching you, entertaining you, educating you, now you start doing that. And guess what? Whoever's providing the content, not consuming the content, who's ever providing the content, it doesn't matter what it is, training, college, entertainment, movies, the guy who's out on the field or the gals who's out on the field playing the sports, who's ever creating the content, getting paid, and who's ever consuming the content is always paying. And it's just that simple, isn't it? So it kind of makes me realize a couple of years ago, I'm like a media company as much as I'm anything, because everything is about my content. It's about the content that I create, whether it be my sales videos and webinars, or sales letters and emails, or whether it be my marketing content that's chumming the waters that I'm posting on social media out there. It's all about content. And so I started to kind of create content differently, more, oh my God, this is like, it's kind of like Dave Chappelle or Seinfeld, right? Who created these TV series many years ago, and they got paid for them. But now all of a sudden, all these streaming services popped up. And guess what? They're going back to all these people saying, we'll pay you tens of millions of dollars to continue to let us stream what you already created 20 years ago. So are you, Josh, repurposing? How do you treat your content? I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, well, yeah, I created so much content last year, I could repurpose it again this year. How are you described one way that you're repurposing content a minute ago.
Yeah.
You can come up with one idea and turn it into a Facebook post, a TikTok video, a Facebook video, an email. You can turn it into little memes or put it in a story on Facebook or Instagram. How then are you saving that and also then repurposing that in the future, or building? How is your email autoresponder built out or set up? How are you utilizing this so valuable media that you're creating in multiple ways, or over and over, or are you?
Yeah, so I've heard, I've talked to one of the really successful people that promote Legendary, Andre. He said he made so much content that for like a year he just reposted stuff and didn't make any new content. And I was like, man, that's awesome. That sounds great. But what I found for me personally is I enjoy making content. Like, content is genuinely fun for me to make. I like it. And I'm a big person for consistency. You know, like if you were at that mastermind back in May, you know, like my whole story is about consistency in doing the little things over and over and over again, doing them the right way. And so for me, the one consistent thing to keep growing as a marketer, to keep growing as an educator in this space is to be creating content. So that's the thing I try to do every single day, no matter what. So yeah, I could go through, I've got probably 1,000 videos now that I could just go, they're all on my phone in the cloud still. I could go through, you know, I could use Save Talk or Snaptic in, you know, remove the watermark, put them on different accounts or reuse them again, or even keep the watermark and reuse them again, all on my account. But for the most part, I don't, because for me, for how I work, what gets me motivated is creating content. I enjoy it. So I try to create new, fresh content every single day. Now, that doesn't mean I have to come up with a new idea every day, because crap, like I say the same thing over and over and over again. I just kind of say it in different ways, you know, like, and that's part of it too. That's part of getting your message across, is saying the same thing over and over and over and over again. And not to reference the mastermind back in May again, but Andrea, I mentioned it in my presentation because it was so impactful to me. She said something like that she's been saying the same thing over and over again for 13 months, just the same thing over and over and over again. And I think she's what, like 3x platinum with you all now? Like you say the same thing over and over and over again, and you can, what? Like, it blew my mind when she said that. And I thought in my head, I was like, well, I kind of already have been doing that, but it just kind of connected some dots for me. And I'm like, man, that's really, that's what it comes down to. Like,
I love your answer, man. By the way, I just want to just go back before we move on, like, because man, the fact that I presented the point about the power of our content and the power of our media, and you explained how you're repurposing things on a date, like you can come up with a video idea and then also write an email about that, and also but the fact that you're creating new content daily versus trying to use old stuff because you want to keep that iron sharp is really, really something, man. And it's really, I think that's really good for people to hear. I've never, I've never stopped creating content in marketing. It's always been important for me also to keep, a keyboard close by, you know what I mean? To bang my fingers on this thing, hunt and pick myself a sales letter or, whatever I need. I've been writing my copy pretty much every word. Now it's changing because we've got some amazing people on the team who are helping. But for many years, I wrote 100% of all my content. I still do 100% of all the videos, 100% of all of the webinar slides, everything is still my hands on the content, the marketing. And so I'm really glad that you said that, because that is a timeless principle that no matter what comes out, and it's going to be even more dangerous as more tools come out that do more of these jobs for us. I think the people who have the attitude that you have, that look, I need to be careful about getting too lazy. I need to be careful about too much outsourcing or getting too far away from these core skills of being comfortable on camera, being able to make a point in 45 seconds and make it interesting. Those are skills that you've developed. You weren't good at those when you first started, were you?
oh no, I watched some of my first content ever back. It was probably a month ago. I watched some of my first content ever, and I'm like, what in the actual, what was I talking about? Why would I ever put this out on the internet? Why did I do that? So, but we're our own biggest critic, right? So
of course, nobody else thinks that, but
wasn't that bad, but
no,
it made me cringe, looking at some of the old stuff that I used to do. So
I watched a video of mine from 10 or 12 years ago the other day. I was like, you know what? I wasn't that bad. I wasn't that bad. But yeah, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, especially the further you get along, you just kind of think, wow, like you think kind of like, how did I get by with this? Like I was watching this video the other day of an interview of me that I was on a show just like this, man. Just like this. Just like this, dude. 12 years ago. Look at this. 12 years ago. And I was the member of the month of this pro, it was a training platform for network marketers, and here I am. I'm so much more than I've paid for the system itself. You know what I mean? I'm just, it's like
Young Dave Sharp.
I'm Dave Sharp. I didn't know my ass from a hole in the ground. I mean, I'm literally just talking, but you know what? It was funny because going and listening to that, I had a lot of the same. It was the same shit. I said, people just don't come in and go take the time to go through the training and actually just learn. Like we see it all the time in our Facebook groups, even on the show. It's like, where do I start? Where do I start? You start on day one of the challenge. And then if you buy our blueprints, we've got a little link that says start here. It's like you can't just sit on the outside or sit in the stands and just yell down on the field, where do I start? When people are playing. They're playing the game. Go down on the field and say, hey, can I come in? Can I be the quarterback for a play? You got to go get in the game. There's a day one, there's a day two. Go through those days of the challenge all the way up for 15 days. Go back through them if you forgot where to start. I promise you'll begin to get clarity. You can reach out to one of our business plan advisors. They'll point you in the right direction. And you know what? If you still can't figure it out, if you still have absolutely no idea what you're doing, then maybe entrepreneurship isn't for you. I mean, it doesn't have to be for everybody. We're not sitting here saying this is guaranteed to work for. We actually say we don't guarantee anything. We actually say the majority of people that buy any how-to information from anywhere don't do shit with it. The same way that they don't do anything with a gym membership or most other subscription-based self-improvement things.
Yep.
Right? I would even venture to say that nowadays, or at least recently, the people using their 4-year in their degrees are at an all-time low.
Yeah.
I mean more people that say I went through college and am not using my degree than I meet people who are using their degree in the field in which they graduated. So, but what I said in that interview back 12 years ago was people just don't take the time to just go through and see it for themselves. They'd rather sit outside of the front door and go, where do I start? How do I start? Like yelling into the building or yelling down onto the field. And I'm not saying that to be condescending, people. I'm saying that because it's true. Yeah. And we're just one page over here, one live stream. You don't have to listen to it if this is not the kind of stuff that you want to hear. But we're teaching people how to be entrepreneurs here. And we go back to what I originally said and what we were talking about, personal responsibility. We're actually creating our own problems by not taking personal responsibility. But my point here is that the same habits people have had for the entire 12 years that I've been doing this, 12 years ago, it was the same problem that people had. Different platforms, different technology. TikTok didn't exist. But the core problem was not that people couldn't figure out how to do Facebook or this or that. It was they would not just take the initiative at the beginning to just do the simple work to begin to learn the skills and begin to understand some things on their own. Yeah. Versus having somebody fly out to their house and sit down. That's just not how this works. It's not a job. It's the exact opposite of the job, which means that you don't get paid up front. You don't guarantee to get paid if you put in a certain amount of hours. There's a good chance you ain't going to make jack shit for a little while. And you got to be okay with that, right? What do you say to the people who come in and say, look, I've been posting on TikTok for a week. I've got 35 opt-ins. Nobody's bought yet. And they're frustrated.
Well, welcome to the club. Welcome to getting started, you know? Like, but I mean, you just gotta keep doing it. And I think the issue is, and it kind of goes back to what you said about just getting started. And like you can't reach a level of, X amount of dollars a month or being a good content creator. You can't just jump in and expect to be there. It's not all going to be perfect right away. You're not going to have the business that you want right away. But the point is, like, you need to get started. And then you take the next step. And then the next step. And then the next step. And whether it's, 3 weeks down the road or 6 months down the road or 2 years down the road, eventually, if you're taking the right steps, you're going to reach that result. Or a better way to put that is, if you truly believe that you're going to reach that result, then there's no other thing that can happen. There's no other thing that can happen. If you believe it, you'll do the things necessary to make it happen. And I think where a lot of people miss the mark is they don't truly believe in the thing that they're learning, or they don't truly believe in themselves. And it goes back to what we said at the beginning. People have a lot of work to do internally to figure this crap out. Because if you don't believe in yourself, it doesn't matter what the opportunity is, you're going to fail at it because nobody else believes in you in the first place. So if nobody else believes in you and you don't believe in yourself, you're screwed. Like, you have to be the one to believe in yourself. Because if you don't, nobody else is going to. And that might be a tough dose of reality for people to understand. But like, nobody believed in me when I started it. Nobody knew. Nobody had any freaking clue what this was. People thought it was a joke. But I believed in it. I knew it could work, and I was going to make it work. And so I took a step, and then I took the next step. And then you look back, and if you have 300 opt-ins and nobody's bought anything, well, maybe you're making crap content. Maybe you're delivering the wrong message. Dive in, figure out what chumming the water really is. Figure out what being the hunted versus hunting people is. You're sending 100 DMs every day trying to get people to buy your thing. Well, maybe you're coming off desperate. Nobody likes the reek of desperation. Nobody's going to buy anything from you. Look back and actually figure out what the crap it is you're doing and figure out why it's not working, and don't just expect. And that's the issue with training too. Even the ones that do get started, a lot of times, it's a clear, concise path, but you're a different person than the person who created that. You're a different person than me. You're a different person than Andrea or Andre or Becca or the people who are killing it right now. You're a different person than them. You have to figure out the little nuances that are going to work for you. The path is clear. The system is simple. Follow it and then figure out how to be your damn self in the thing and make it work for you. Not just expect somebody's going to show up and do it all for you, because that's not how it works. And I'm on a little bit of a rant right now in this. I'm gonna say it right now. There's some crap programs out there right now that are taking affiliate marketing over right now, that people are doing XYZ amount of money because of this guarantee on their damn sales letter that they'll pay you $10,000 or more if the business doesn't work for you. Yeah, good luck when the FTC comes freaking knocking about that guarantee. And maybe you should go read your fine print before you jump in a scammy program like that, because it says right in the fine print, people, wake up. If you get even one follower on social media, they don't have to pay you that guarantee. You really want to be working with somebody who's promising you something like that, and then they have fine print there that's going to screw everybody over, and they're never actually going to have to pay the guarantee, and they don't have to refund you your damn money. Like, anyway, I don't know how I got on that rant, but man, figure it out for yourself. People cannot do it for you. You have to put in the work. Yeah. No matter how many people tell you it can be done for you, it cannot. Certain aspects may be able to be done for you, but at the end of the day, you got to show up, you got to put in the effort, and you got to make it happen for yourself, because nobody else can do it for you.
Those kind of programs, and I don't know the exact one that you're talking about because they're a dime a dozen. Honestly, they have cut
Because
these
winners focus on winning and losers focus on winners,
I mean,
right? I took that from you a couple months ago.
Well, people report to me quite often that such and such is saying this and that about Legendary. I mean, we had a record. Listen to this for a second. We had a record-breaking sales day yesterday. All time, 7 years, all time. Not 2 years ago, not 2 months ago. Yesterday. Right? So, I mean, it's all about how success, you can't ride on yesterday's success. And so there's a lot of people who think that, by preying on people's, we all have that kind of greed. And that's really what it is. At a core, it's greed. Right. And so when people are preying on that, it's ugly. It's disgusting. But you know what? Ultimately, we're all adults, and you said it plain and straight. If you're looking for a shortcut, you're probably going to find yourself in an alley. And you know what? I got a great tip. Stay out of dark alleys, folks.
Yeah.
Stay out of dark alleys. There's a lot of dark alleys on the internet as well. I've been on the internet for over 12 years. And let me tell you something, it's hard to maintain a reputation anywhere for that long. But it's even harder on the internet. And you can burn your reputation, you can burn your name so fast by who you associate with. We often step over dollars to pick up dimes. Quick little dimes, right? Step over those long-term dollars. And, it's understandable. It's understandable because we're all just trying to, support our family. We're all just trying to do this. But thinking about the long term and thinking about who you associate with and actually using common sense is learning skills, or is somebody selling me a done for you system with this and that XYZ guarantee and promise? What's the actual more legitimate, more common sense, more sensible long-term solution for me and my family? Think that through, because a lot of people with these programs, they'll max out credit cards, they'll mortgage their house, they'll do this, they'll do that to buy the 10, the 15, the $20,000 package. And the truth is that, you don't need all that, especially when you're starting. Especially if you're buying something in order to qualify to sell it, that's actually illegal. So if what Josh is talking about, if what you're talking about is a program or a business opportunity where you have to buy something in order to then be able to sell it, you're in trouble, and so is the company. Sooner or later, and sometimes we got to go through those difficult experiences. Like wasting time in the DMs. Our Facebook group can be another problem where some of that stuff happens. And we try to educate people on how to handle those situations, not coddle you, not shield you, not protect you, because you're all adults, right? But to educate you about what to look for. And you know what? No matter what we say, there's certain people who are also going to get burned, who are going to make bad decisions, and that's going to be part of your learning journey. But you're on fire, man. I can tell that you're feeling it. You're in your zone. You've got intention about what you're doing, and you're going to be here for a long time, man. You're going to be here for a long time, and that what you're doing is how you build a long-term career in this. What you see, you're developing real skills. This is the difference between some of these other cats who I've seen and known, who have kind of fumbled around from like business opportunity to business opportunity, always looking for the next hot thing instead of developing skills. When you develop the skills that you've developed to be able to create content, to be able to write emails, to be able to know how to turn situations into edutainment, you can sell anything. You don't have to be dependent on what's hot, or, I'm going to sell this even though it's kind of scammy because it converts well. you can choose and you can make money selling anything because of the way that you present it. It's all about the way that you present something and the actual skills that you develop. And you've done one hell of a job doing that, man. And each time I talk to you, you're more on fire, you're more sharp, you've got more confidence. That's the major thing that I notice about you from when we were at the mastermind together until now. It seems like your confidence has grown. Give us one thought on that to end the show, either a tip or something that you've done. I mean, maybe it's just been the consistency of doing things every day. I don't know, but have you noticed the increase in confidence, and what would you attribute it to?
Man, I would go right back to the beginning of the show. I think my increase in confidence in my increase in, I guess my skill sets, my confidence in myself is just going back to doing the work and letting go of a lot of resentment, of getting to actually know myself, to not spend so much time scrolling on the internet and distracted by everything from life, but really being able to reflect and really knowing who I am as a person, and being able to let go of some of the hatred I had towards myself, being able to let go of some of the hatred that I had towards other people. I think, again, it was just so freeing that now, because I was able to do all that and I know who I am, I really don't care what other people think of me. I am who I am. If you like it, great. If you don't, great. Because I don't care. I genuinely don't care. And I think once you get to that space of knowing yourself that well, you walk through life with a lot more confidence. You present yourself with a lot more confidence, and you are a lot more confident in what you're doing because you know who the crap you are. So I think
I agree.
that's
Those
probably
are those
it.
dynamics, right? I mean, there's the mechanics and then there's the dynamics, and you're talking about that inner game. So something that I wish I would have announced at the beginning, but man, I'm going to announce it to 505 people now. Josh is going to be the guest coach on the Blueprints hot seat coaching call today at 2 p.m.
Yeah, y'all are stuck with me all day long today.
Wow, dude. So, wow, let me let you go so you can, maybe get some Yellowstone in, take a nap, do whatever you want to do for the next 3 hours. And then we'll meet you back at 2 p.m. On the Blueprints hot seat call.
This sounds great.
All right,
I'm looking
brother.
forward
Thanks
to
for your
it.
time. Be legendary. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
See you, Josh. Thanks. All right, my friends, go follow Josh over on TikTok at Dadtreprenewer Official. That's DADTREPRENEWER Official. OFFICIAL. Dadtreprenewer Official over on TikTok. Man, you got to follow this guy. Okay, you got to be getting inspired by Josh. This is somebody who started in such a similar spot to so many of you, to so many of us, to me included, just different times, different spots on the timeline, but a great example of what's possible. Great example of where your confidence can grow into, where your income can grow into, where your business can grow into. And we're so thankful that he's, hanging out to give back here to all of you. So if you're not in the Blueprints, get in the Blueprints. He's going to be coaching today at 2 p.m. Eastern time on that hot seat Blueprints call. If you don't know how to register for that, go into your members area under products, hover over business blueprints, and it says register for live training. He'll be on that 2 p.m. hot seat coaching call today. All right, get out of here, my friends. We'll hopefully see most of you today at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and the rest of you back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time for another episode. Get out of here.